I was mentioning that way back, before the revolution in all that pertains to the free time that people might have on this planet, except of course in yet uncomplicated and therefore primitive societies, things were done by human beings just as they were. And in Wales, I mentioned the element of people being able to cultivate the word on a level of amusing themselves, and something, of course, which concerns us all, being interesting wherever we are. That's the bridge, of course, on which we cross into their hearts and souls. Be an interesting person. But then in Wales, I heard from those who knew about it that there was also, strangely enough, in the sphere of the sacred, the element of people having consolation and sometimes on the brink of entertainment. Not quite, but in the sense that people used to think a lot about, for instance, the big preacher coming to town. In that society, the word was very important, and that was cultivated too. And it was one of the outlets for people who might actually have a charismatic personality, in that sense, that it was something that gave that possibility also. But it's something that is worth looking at, because the Lord does use that. We have to be aware that people need consolation and not heaviness. They need something of interest and not something yet again boring. And therefore, when this ministry of the word is given to us, we need to be aware of also the element of making it in such a way that it will remain with them. Now, St. Paul was the expert par excellence of the word. Indeed, about half the New Testament is from him. And of course, he had in his baggage, his cultural baggage, many sources, and therefore he was able to act upon many people of many different backgrounds, even there in the heart of learning in Athens, quoting their poets. Now, from St. Paul, we have here in the second letter to the Corinthians, in the second chapter, something regarding the way in which we have to influence others by all our being. I remember hearing this once from an evangelical speaker way back. It's not what you say that counts, but the way you smell. And somebody else said, Christianity is caught, not taught. Here in verse 12 we have this little self-description going on about his ministry. When I came to Troas for the sake of the gospel of Christ, and a door was opened for me there in the Lord. Now, this element of going in where a door opens is important, that we need to pick up when a door is opening and the Lord is inviting us to come in. We sometimes program things and nothing happens. And then when a door opens, we don't walk in. Well, we notice that the apostles, in the early evangelization, they used the open doors that were there. Notably, they came into the structure. We find that these apostles are there on a Saturday in the synagogue. That is, the structure is already there, and they use the slots already in place. Well, something of that nature can happen to us as well. Sometimes an invitation comes just like that, and we find ourselves in a prepared slot. We have no organization to do. We just walk in, and then, in the name of the Lord, we use that providential opportunity to do good to those people that the Lord has put there. In His name we act and speak. So it's important that we have that elasticity of letting the Lord be the programmer of all our life.